Hello friends, welcome to Law and GK. So friends, on this channel we discuss the contents of law and previous year papers of judicial services and other legal exams. So friends, as you know, AIB examination is about to come and उसी के लिए हम ये videos ready कर रहे हैं. And if you have seen my previous videos, we have already discussed all the question papers available of AIB All India Bar Examination. In today's video, we are going to discuss all the questions of Constitution of India. I hope कि ये videos आपके लिए बड़ी useful रहेंगी. So friends, if you are preparing for judicial services, this channel will be very useful for you. आपके लिए बड़ा ही beneficial रहेगा. Next 22. Who was the constitutional advisor to the Constituent Assembly of India? B.N. Rao. C is the answer. Next 23. The concept of judicial review in India is based on international treaties and conventions. D is the answer. Next 24. Protection of environment is a constitutional duty या फिर directive principle state policy या fundamental duty. They are both B and C. D is the answer. Next 25. The term education belongs to union list or state or concurrent list. C is the answer, where the lists are mentioned in schedule 7. Next 26. While interpreting the phrase equality before the law contained in Article 14 of the Constitution, the Supreme Court constantly maintained that equality means absolute equality among the human beings, equal treatment to all persons. Among equals, the law should be equal and should be equally administered. Yes. C would be most appropriate. C is the answer. Next is 27. The number of fundamental rights available in the Constitution of India are 6. Is the answer. Next 28. Which one of the following fundamental rights has been described by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the heart and soul of the Constitution? That is, right to constitutional remedies, that is mentioned in Article 32. Power of writs to Supreme Court. C is the answer. Next 29. What is the period of appointment of the Comptroller and Auditor General of India? It is 6 years or 65 years of age, whichever is earlier. C is the answer. Next is 30. Which of the following writs is a bulwark of personal freedom? That is habeas corpus. C is the answer. Next is 31. Supremacy of law, equality before law, and predominance of legal spirit are the basic principles of doctrine of rule of law. Obviously, C is the answer. Next 32. Rule of law is the antithesis of arbitrariness. In all civilized societies, it has come to be regarded as a mark of free society, and it seeks to maintain the balance between opposite notions of individual liberty and public order. This was opined by whom in famous habeas corpus case. See, this statement has been asked in several question papers, and if you just read out judgment, it is available on internet on many websites. You can just read it over there. You cannot find this statement, and they always ask this in the paper. I don't know like who made this question and who created, like who amended and just asked the question to make it difficult. The options are saying that it is H.R. Khanna, but this total statement has not been properly mentioned anywhere in the judgment. Some parts of this mention the rule of law antithesis to the arbitrariness. This is there, and it is also said by the Justice P.N. Bhagwati. So the answer is saying A. If this question comes again in any paper, just mention H.R. Khanna, but this is not the original statement mentioned in the judgment. This has been molded by some examiner. Next 33. The maxim delegatus non potest delegare means a delegate can further delegate. No, cannot further delegate. B is the answer. Next 42. It was held by Supreme Court that preamble was not a part of Constitution in the case of dash in re Barubari, and this has been overruled in case of Keshwanand Bharati versus State of Kerala. A is the answer. Next 43. By the Constitutional 27th Amendment Act, the following word has been inserted under Article 19(1)(c). That is cooperative societies. C is the answer. Next 44. Doctrine of legitimate expectation was discussed in which case? In FCI versus Kamdhenu Cattle Feed Industries. D is the answer. Next 45, the Supreme Court in Salvi versus State of Karnataka held compulsory brain mapping, polygraph tests and narco analysis were in violation of Article 20 and 21. D is the answer. So repeat question. Next 46, passive euthanasia is permitted in certain cases held in Aruna Ramchandra Shanbag versus Union of India. A is the answer. This is a repeat question. Next 57, equal pay for equal work can be enforced through which article? Article 14 and 16. B is the answer. Next 58, the executive power of every state shall be exercised as to ensure compliance with the law made by Parliament and any existing law mentioned under. This is Article 256. B is the answer. Next 59, Justice Ramanand Committee relates to creamy layer. B is the answer. Next 60, original jurisdiction of Supreme Court is dealt under Section 131. C is the answer. 226 क्या है? हाई कोर्ट की रिट पावर. 124 क्या है? सुप्रीम कोर्ट की एस्टैब्लिशमेंट. And 61, law declared by Supreme Court shall be binding on all courts mentioned under Article 142 or 143. It is 141. D is the answer. Next 88, the second principle of rule of law of AIBE relates to equality before law. B is the answer. Next 89, if a quasi-judicial or quasi-judicial authority violates the principle of natural justice, the appropriate writ would be certiorari. D is the answer. Next 90, a 7-member bench of Supreme Court unanimously struck down Clause 2D of Article 323A and Clause 3D of Article 323B of the Constitution relating to tribunals which excluded the jurisdiction of High Court and Supreme Court. The court held that power of judicial review over legislative action is vested in the High Court under Article 226 and Supreme Court under Article 32. This is an integral part of basic structure of the Constitution. The name of the case is L. Chandra Kumar versus Union of India. A is the answer. Next 82, writ of certiorari is issued against lower court or quasi-judicial bodies. A is the answer. Next 83, odi altum partem means bias या फिर here on the other side. No one can be judged in your own case. No. Here the other side. B is the answer. मतलब no party shall be left unheard. Every party shall be heard by the court. Next 84, the second Administrative Reforms Commission is constituted in 31st August 2005. C is the answer. Next 91, new states are created under Article 3 of Indian Constitution या फिर Article 4 or 5 or 370. In Article 3, A is the answer. This is 92, doctrine of pleasure with reference to civil servant is mentioned under Article 310. D is the answer. Next 93, right to know flow from one of these articles of the Constitution. That is Article 19. B is the answer. This is 94, freedom of trade, commerce and intercourse throughout the territory of India is mentioned under 191G. A is the answer. 300A क्या है? राइट टू प्रॉपर्टी है ना. Next 95, passive euthanasia under certain circumstances is permissible held in the case of Aruna Ramchandra Shanbag versus Union of India. A is the answer. ज्ञानपुर किस पे था? राइट टू डाई पर है ना. Next 96, it was held by Supreme Court that the balance between fundamental right and directive principle of state policy is the bedrock and the basic structure of the Constitution. In which case? It's a Minerva Mill case. B is the answer. Next 97, KC Gajapati Narayan Dev versus State of Odisha is often quoted with the reference to doctrine of colorable legislation. C is the answer. Next 98, Raja Rampal versus Honorable Speaker Lok Sabha deals with privileges of the legislature. B is the answer. This is 99. Under Article 1 of the Constitution, India That is, Bharat shall be union of states. B is the answer. Next is 100. A minister ceases to hold office if he does not become a member of the legislature within 6 months. It is mentioned under Article 164 4. A is the answer. Next is 2. Equal pay for equal work for both men and women is proclaimed under which article? Article 39 ही है. Clause कौन सी है? Clause is D. B is the answer. Next is 7. Right to freedom to acquire, hold and dispose of property is abolished by 44th Amendment. It was in Article 1F and it was deleted but again inserted as Article 300A. Next is 8. Which one of the following is covered under the definition of state? The Indian Statistical Institute, या फिर Agricultural Institute या फिर NCERT. D is the answer. Next 22. The Constitution of India has recognized the concept of tribunal as instruments of quasi-judicial administrative adjudication. In Article 323A and 323B, B is the answer. And by which Amendment Act these two articles were inserted? By 42nd Amendment Act. Next 74. The question whether the fundamental rights can be amended under Article 368 came for consideration first time in Shankari Prasad versus Union of India. A is the answer. Next 75. A law which violates fundamental right is not nullity or void ab initio but becomes only unenforceable. This doctrine is called as doctrine of eclipse. D is the answer. Next 76. Equality of opportunity admits discrimination with reason. It was observed by Apex Court in State of Kerala versus N.M. Thomas. A is the answer. Next is 2. Entry number 22 of concurrent list deals with trade union and industrial labor disputes. C is the answer. Next is 3. Which article in the Constitution of India talks about the participation of workers in the management of industries? That is 43A. B is the answer. जो कि कौन से amendment से आया था? By the 42nd Amendment से. Next is 4. Pick out the case that is popularly known as the solicitor's case. That is National Union of Commercial Employees versus Industrial Tribunal Bombay. B is the answer. Next is 8. According to Article 71, disputes arising in connection with the election of President and Vice President are to be inquired into and decided by the Supreme Court. Obviously, A is का answer रहेगा. Next 21. The requirement to give reasons in administrative decision which affects rights and liabilities has been held to be mandatory by Supreme Court in S.L. Mukherjee versus Union of India. A is the answer. Next 22. Donomore Committee Report on Ministers' Power 1932 relates to England. A is the answer. Next 74. If by imposing solitary confinement there is a total deprivation of camaraderie amongst co-prisoner coming and being talked to, it would offend Article 21 of the Constitution. The liberty to move, mix, mingle, talk, share company with co-prisoners if substantially curtailed would be violative of Article 21. This was held in case of कौन सा केस था ये? ये था सुनील बत्रावासी दिल्ली एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. A is the answer. Next 75. In state of Karnataka versus Union of India, appointment of a commission by Union government under 3(1) of the Commission of Inquiry Act to look into the charges of corruption etc. against the Chief Minister and other ministers of a state was challenged. It was held arbitrary under 14 या violates या फिर federal structure is not jeopardized. D is the answer. Next 76. Equality is a dynamic concept with many aspects and dimensions, and it cannot be cribbed, cabined, and confined within the tradition and doctrinaire limits. Forms a positive point of view, and equality is aesthetic to arbitrariness. In effect, inequality and arbitrariness are sworn enemies. This was stated in case of E.P. Royappa versus State of Tamil Nadu. C is the answer. और ये किसने कहा था इस केस में? एक कहा था जस्टिस पी.एन. भगवती ने। नेक्स्ट 16, डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल्स आर justifiable as fundamental right but not as fundamental right. Not justifiable but yet they are fundamental in the governance of the country. D is the answer. और ये कहाँ मेंशन किया गया है? दिस इज मेंशन इन सेक्शन 37 of Constitution of India in DPSP. Next 17, who has the power to dissolve the Lok Sabha? President. A is the answer. और ये पावर कहाँ दी गई? इन आर्टिकल 85 of Constitution of India में. Next 18, an amendment of the Constitution can be initiated by introduction of bill for such purpose. कोई भी हाउस में कर सकते हैं, आइदर इन काउंसिल ऑफ स्टेट्स और हाउस ऑफ पीपल, दोनों में, राज्यसभा या लोकसभा दोनों में, किसी में भी आप जो है इंट्रोड्यूस कर सकते हैं उसको. सी इसका आंसर रहेगा. नेक्स्ट 31, विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज ट्रू इन रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ गवर्नमेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट विच डज नॉट कन्फर्म टू द प्रोविजन ऑफ आर्टिकल 299 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन? तो क्या होगा? दे आर नॉट एनफोर्सेबल इन कोर्ट अगेंस्ट द पार्टीज ऑब्वियसली. तो ए इसका आंसर रहेगा, वॉइड हो जाएंगे वो. नेक्स्ट 39, विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग आर इंक्लूडेड इन द कंसेप्ट ऑफ स्टेट अंडर आर्टिकल 12? रेलवे बोर्ड, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बोर्ड या जुडिशरी यूनिवर्सिटी, ऑल ऑफ द अबव. डी इज द आंसर. Next 40, the word procedure established by law in Article 21 means that due process of law must be followed. Procedure laid down or enacted by the competent authority, या फिर same thing in due process, या फिर a law which is reasonable and just and fair. D इसका आंसर रहेगा. Next is 4, when a bill is passed by the parliament and the president, what is the status of the same? Will approve of a law, it will become a law. पूरा लिखना चाहिए था, इट विल बिकम ए लॉ. तो बी इसका आंसर रहेगा. लॉ मतलब क्या? ऑप्शन भी ठीक से नहीं बनाते हैं. नेक्स्ट 20, मोरले मिंटो. अब यहाँ मिंटो मोरले कर दिया. वाह, क्या मतलब क्रिएटिविटी करी है यहाँ पर एग्जामिनर ने. बी, मिंटो मोरले रिफॉर्म्स इज एसोसिएटेड विद विच एक्ट? इट वाज इंडिया काउंसिल एक्ट 1909. डी इज द आंसर. Next 35, in the Government of India Act 1935, which subjects are included in the concurrent list? और गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एक्ट क्या रेलेवेंसी है इसकी? तो क्रिमिनल लॉ भी है, मैरिज भी है, डिवोर्स आर्बिट्रेशन भी है, ऑल ऑफ द अबव. डी इज द आंसर. नेक्स्ट 40, द रूल इज दैट penal statutes must be construed literally या strictly. Strictly. B is the answer. Next 43, when can the Supreme Court refuses to grant remedy under Article 32? Delay, malicious petition, infructuous petition, all of the above. D is the answer. Next 47, filing with the court to object on and another's imprisonment is called habeas corpus. B is the answer. Next is 57, under which Supreme Court judgment action of the President to summon, prorogue, resolve either of the House of Parliament shall be unconstitutionally effected without advice of Council of Minister. ये था U.N. Rao versus Indira Gandhi. C is the answer. Next 67, what is the special constitutional position of Jammu and Kashmir? अब तो ये irrelevant हो गया by the Reorganization Act of 2019. स्पेशल स्टेटस जो है वो उसको हटा दिया गया है. Next 74, recently in which case the Kerala High Court held that UGC criteria which allow certain relaxation in marks to reserve categories as a violation of 16(1). ये था नायर सोसाइटी वर्सेस UGC. A was the answer. ये जजमेंट ही गलत लग रही है. Next 75, in which of the following cases it was said that unless a right of appeal is clearly given by statute, it does not exist? ये था जैर हुसैन खान वर्सेस खुर्शीद जैन. सी इज द आंसर. जैन नहीं होगा, जैन होगा ये. Next 86, the right of equality before law under Article 14 is subject to restrictions of reasonable restriction है. Reasonable classification. B is the answer. Next 90, the provision relating to abolition of untouchability is given in Article 17 of Constitution. C is the answer. Next, 95. The theoretical power to amend the constitution has been given to the members of parliament and state legislature by Article 368. B is the answer. Next, 19. Right to personal liberty includes right against custodial violence. Yes. Right of under trial to separate them from convicted. Yes. Right against public hanging. Yes. All of the above. D is the answer. ये different cases में जो है बोले गए हैं. जैसे ये राइट अगेंस्ट पब्लिक हैंगिंग कौन सा केस था? ये लक्ष्मा देवी वाला केस था. बाकी केस आप लिखिए ज़रा कमेंट सेक्शन में, बताइए जाके कौन कौन से केसेस हैं ये दोनों ए एंड बी वाले. Next, 20. The Supreme Commander of the Defense Forces of India is President. A is the answer. और ये कहाँ मेंशन किया गया है? इन आर्टिकल 53 ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. Next, 21. Retirement age of Supreme Court judges is 65 years. D is the answer. कहाँ मेंशन किया गया है? आर्टिकल 124 में ही. Next, 34. The provision of establishing public service commission is made under section 315. B is the answer. Next is 46. Which one is not a fundamental right? Right to freedom of assembly ये है, property ये भी है. Right to property is a constitutional right, fundamental right नहीं है. पहले 19(1)(f) था, but after the 44th amendment इसको जो है यहाँ से डिलीट कर दिया गया और एज सेक्शन 300A जो है ऐड कर दिया गया है. Next is 47. In Maneka Gandhi case, it was observed that confiscation of passport was correct. No. Right to go abroad is not within the Article 21. Wrong. Right to go abroad is within the ambit of 19(1)(a). No. None of the above. Right to go abroad is within the ambit of 19(1)(a), but confiscation of passport is not in accordance to the law. C इसका आंसर रहेगा. Next is 48. Reasonable restrictions can be imposed on the right of free movement in the interest of general public या political leader safety. General public. A is the answer. Article 19 में ही प्रोवाइड किया गया है ये. Next, 49. Which of the following can claim Article 19 of the Constitution? Company, corporation, citizen. Citizen only. C is the answer. Next, 50. Clause 3 of Article 20. ये 1 नहीं आना चाहिए. Of the Indian Constitution says that no accused person shall be compelled to be a witness against himself. C is the answer. Next, 51. Indira Shawne versus Union of India is popularly known as Mandal Commission case. C is the answer. Next, 52. Due to the outcome of this case, slum dwellers were benefited. That was Olka Tellis versus BMC. B is the answer. Next, 53. A PIL can be filed under Article 226. 32. A is the answer. Next, 54. Supreme Court in SP Gupta versus Union of India decided on judges transfer. C is the answer. Next, 55. Supreme Court in a PIL known as Kamalnath case evolved the public trust doctrine. B is the answer. Next, 56. Vishakha versus State of Rajasthan case is related to sexual harassment at workplace. A is the answer. Question number 1 is the first constitutional amendment was enacted in the year 1951. B is the answer. Next, 3. A landmark habeas corpus petition was filed during emergency. That is, which case was it? That was ADM Jabalpur versus Shivikant Shukla. D is the answer. Next is 11. Doctrine of pleasure applies to legislative, civil servants, judges, या फिर cabinet ministers. To civil servants. B is the answer. Next, 14. Article 361 provides what it provides: protection and immunities to the president and governor from being prosecuted in courts. C is the answer. Yeah. Next, 26. Supreme Court decided in SR Bommai versus Union of India relating to president rule या फिर illegal detention, right to clean environment. Relating to president rule in state. A is the answer. Next, 32. Supreme Court has decided in Keshwanand Bharati versus state दैट पार्लियामेंट कैन अमेंड एनी प्रोविजन ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, या फिर पार्लियामेंट कैन नॉट अमेंड एनी प्रोविजन ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, या फिर कैन अमेंड एनी प्रोविजन ऑफ बट नॉट ऑल्टर द बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर। सी इज द आंसर। और ये बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर की डॉक्ट्राइन जो है ये किसने propound की थी? इसी जजमेंट में जस्टिस सीकरी ने। ये क्वेश्चन भी आ चुका है। नेक्स्ट 40, विच इज नॉट अ प्राइवेट राइट? टू प्रॉपर्टी, फ्रीडम, एजुकेशन, सारे क्या है? फंडामेंटल राइट है एंड पब्लिक राइट्स हैं। तो प्राइवेट राइट में नहीं आएंगे, तो ऑल ऑफ दी अबव इसका आंसर हो गया। डी इज द आंसर। नेक्स्ट 45, सेपरेशन ऑफ जुडिशरी फ्रॉम एग्जीक्यूटिव इज गारंटीड इन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अंडर आर्टिकल 50। डी इज द आंसर। डीपीएसपी में है ना। 19 क्या है? राइट टू फ्रीडम। ये क्या है? राइट टू लाइफ एंड पर्सनल लिबर्टी। 48 ए क्या है? प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ एनवायरमेंट। नेक्स्ट 51, आर्टिकल 213 empowers the governor to promulgate ordinances when the state legislature is not in session. Obviously, A is the answer. Next 52, a person arrested should not be detained more than 24 hours. कहाँ लिखा गया है? आर्टिकल 22 में, and even also in CRPC in section 57. Next 56, financial relation between the state and center are defined in constitution with section 264 to 293. C is the answer. Next 65, the rule of law is defined by A. Y. Dicey. C is the answer. So let's move on to the question paper. So question number 1 is, restrictions may not be imposed on freedom provided under Article 19(1)(a) on this ground. कौन से ग्राउंड पर नहीं है? On the ground of sedition. C is the answer. बाकी इनके बेस पर रिस्ट्रिक्शंस लगा सकते हैं। Next is 2, right guaranteed to citizens only is कौन से है? 19(1)(a). C is the answer. Next is 3, president can be removed on the ground of for the violation of the constitution. C is the answer. और ये कहाँ प्रोवाइड किया गया है? इन आर्टिकल 61, जहां पर मैनर लिखा हुआ है फॉर इम्पीचमेंट ऑफ प्रेसिडेंट। Next is 6, the contempt of court belongs to, तो ये दिया गया है एंट्री 77 ऑफ यूनियन लिस्ट एंड एंट्री 14 ऑफ कंकरेंट लिस्ट। देखिए क्वेश्चन यहाँ पर ये गलत कर दिया, ये स्टेट लिस्ट में नहीं है। स्टेट लिस्ट 14 तो एग्रीकल्चर के लिए है, ये एंट्री 14 इन कंकरेंट लिस्ट है और 77 इन यूनियन लिस्ट है। तो मैं कहूँगा ये क्वेश्चन यहाँ पर हो गया गलत। नेक्स्ट इज 7, हु वाज द चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया व्हेन कंसेप्ट ऑफ पीआईएल वाज इंट्रोड्यूस्ड टू इंडियन जुडिशियल सिस्टम? वाज पीएन भगवती। डी इज द आंसर। Next is 8, the Supreme Court of India issued a number of direction for the prevention of women in various forms of prostitution and to rehabilitate their children through various welfare measures, and so as to provide them with dignity of person, means of livelihood and socio-economic development in the case of, कौन सा केस था ये? ये था गौरव जैन वर्सेस यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया। B is the answer. Next 22, section 66A was invalidated by Supreme Court in Shreya Singhal versus Union of India. B is the answer. Next 27, which of the following is not a federal feature of any constitution? Written constitution होता है double set of government, constitutional and single citizenship का यहाँ पर नहीं होता, तो D इसका आंसर हो गया। ड्यूअल सिटीजनशिप का होता है ना, एक स्टेट की होगी, एक वो पूरे कंट्री की होगी। Next 28, Parliament exercise of its power to amend under Article 368 may not amend. प्रियम्बल कर सकते हैं, amend fundamental rights कर सकते हैं, सुप्रीम कोर्ट कर सकते हैं, बेसिक स्टेटमेंट नहीं कर सकते। डी इसका आंसर रहेगा। Next 29, which article starts with subject to public order, morality and health? ये आर्टिकल 25। डी इसका आंसर रहेगा। Next 56, mandamus may be issued by, क्या कर रखा है ये? आई थिंक ये किसी ने ना ये कहीं से पेपर लेके ना और उसको ट्रांसलेट करके डाल दिया है इधर। सुप्रीम कोर्ट भी इशू कर सकती है, हाई कोर्ट भी इशू कर सकते हैं, बोथ ए एंड बी। डी इसका आंसर रहेगा। Next 57, the provision of administrative tribunal is added by, ये आया था 42nd अमेंडमेंट से, ए इज द आंसर। और कौन सा आर्टिकल ऐड किया गया था? 323A एंड बी। एक अलग से पार्ट ही जो है ऐड किया गया था, पार्ट 14A, किसके लिए? ट्राइब्यूनल्स के लिए। नेक्स्ट इज 65, द एक्स ऑफिशियल चेयरमैन ऑफ द काउंसिल ऑफ स्टेट इज वाइस प्रेसिडेंट, ऑब्वियसली सी इज द आंसर, सबको पता है ये तो। नेक्स्ट 66, राइट टू प्रॉपर्टी इन इंडिया इज अ fundamental right, a constitutional right. It is a constitutional right provided under Article 300A. Earlier it was a fundamental right in 1901F, but it was deleted by the 44th Amendment and added as a 300A. Now it is only a constitutional right. तो B इसका आंसर रहेगा। Next 67, which of the following writs mean to produce the body of a person? Yeah, habeas corpus, D is the answer. Next 68, delegated legislation was declared constitutional in which case? In Reed Daly Laws Act case, B is the answer. पहला केस था ना डेलीगेटेड लेजिस्लेशन पर, ये भी पूछते हैं कई बारी। Next 75, right to free legal aid was recognized as a fundamental right under Article 21 of Indian Constitution in the case of, तो ये केस था हुस्नैरा खातून वर्सेस होम सेक्रेटरी स्टेट ऑफ बिहार, ए इज द आंसर। नेक्स्ट 92, जॉइंट सिटिंग ऑफ बोथ हाउसेस ऑफ पार्लियामेंट में बी कॉल्ड बाय द प्रेसिडेंट, सी इज द आंसर, एंड दिस इज प्रोवाइडेड इन आर्टिकल 108 ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन। Next is 5, the concept of curative petition was introduced by the Supreme Court of India in case of रूपा अशोक हुर्रा वर्सेस अशोक हुर्रा, यही केस था, ए इज द आंसर। नेक्स्ट 6, राइट टू फेयर लीगल एड वाज रिकॉग्नाइज्ड एज फंडामेंटल राइट अंडर एक्ट 21 ऑफ इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इन द केस ऑफ, राइट टू फेयर लीगल एड। अब देखिए फेयर लीगल एड नहीं है, फ्री लीगल एड के लिए है, वो था, तो इस क्वेश्चन को भी जो है डिलीट कर दिया गया था। Next 8, in which of the following cases the Supreme Court was in 2017 declared pronouncement of talaq 3 times at time by a Muslim husband as unconstitutional? तो ये केस था शयारा बानो वर्सेस यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया, ए इज द आंसर। Next 17, rule of law means equality before law, supremacy of the law, predominance of the legal spirit, all of the above, D is the answer. Next 18, the purpose of writ of quo warranto is to compel public authority to perform duty, ये तो mandamus होती है, to restrict public authority to do illegal act, ये भी mandamus है, to oust legal occupant of a public post, ये बिल्कुल ठीक है, तो C इसका आंसर हो गया। Next 19, writ of certiorari can be issued against judicial, quasi judicial bodies या फिर judicial administrative body या फिर administrative bodies only, तो जुडिशियल एंड क्वासी जुडिशियल बॉडीज ऑब्वियसली, ए इज द आंसर, क्योंकि ये तो एरर ऑफ जुरिसडिक्शन पर होता है ना। नेक्स्ट 20, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया हेल्ड दैट इट इज परमानेंट ऑब्लिगेशन ऑफ एवरी मेंबर ऑफ मेडिकल प्रोफेशन आइदर गवर्नमेंट और प्राइवेट टू गिव मेडिकल एड टू एवरी इंजर्ड पर्सन ब्रॉट टू ट्रीटमेंट इमीडिएटली विदाउट वेटिंग फॉर प्रोसीजरल फॉर्मेलिटीज। कौन सा केस था ये? कॉमन कॉज वर्सेस यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया, ए इज द आंसर। Next is 21, Supreme Court of India has issued a direction to make CBI independent agency so that it can function more effectively and investigate crimes and corruptions at high places in public life. इस क्वेश्चन को डिलीट कर दिया गया था। Next 44, residuary powers in India may be exercised by the Parliament. A is the answer. Residuary power का प्रोविजन कहाँ है? आर्टिकल 248 कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन। Next 56, from which of the following countries Constitution of India has borrowed power of judicial review? That is from USA, C is the answer. Next 57, enforcement of which of the following articles of the Constitution of India cannot be suspended even during the proclamation of emergency? That is Article 20 and 21, B is the answer. और ये कहाँ मेंशन किया गया है? आर्टिकल 359 ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया में। Next 66. The principle of law of taxation. No tax shall be levied or collected except by the authority of law. It is contained in Article 265A is the answer. Next 68. Under which of the following articles of the Indian Constitution Parliament is empowered to legislate with respect to matters in state list in national interest? That is 249A is the answer. Next 69. In which of the following cases the court has laid down that right to life does not include right to die? ये था श्रीमती ज्ञान कौर से स्टेट ऑफ पंजाब. बी इज द आंसर. और इसने ओवररूल किया था किसको? पी रथी नाम वाले केस को, जहां पर ये कहा गया था कि राइट टू लाइफ इज ऑल्सो इंक्लूड्स राइट टू डाई. Next 70. The question whether a bill is a money bill or not decided by the Speaker Lok Sabha. D is the answer. और ये कहाँ मेंशन किया गया है? आर्टिकल 110 क्लॉज 3 of Constitution. Next 71. Decision under 10th schedule is taken by presiding officers of the houses. D is the answer. Next is 14. Parliament may by law establish administrative tribunal under section 323A. B is the answer. Next 37. Supreme Court invoked the principle of transformative constitutionalism in the case of Navtej Singh Johar versus Union of India. A is the answer. Next 44. Anuradha Bhasin versus Union of India relates to challenge under Article 32 of the Constitution seeking issuance of appropriate writ for setting aside order of government which all modes of communication including internet has been shut down in J&K. Yes, it is that. A is the answer. Next 46. Article 145(3) of the Indian Constitution states that the minimum number of judges who are to sit for the purpose of deciding any case involving a substantial question of law as to interpretation of this Constitution or for the purpose of hearing any reference under Article 143 shall be 5. C is the answer. Next 47. The utility of TIL is liberalized locus standi. Yes. The proceedings are non-adversarial. Yes. Procedural requirements are liberalized. Yes. All of the above. D is the answer. Next 48. The petitioner, a professor of political science who had done substantial research and deeply interested in ensuring proper implementation of the constitutional provisions, challenged the practice followed by the state of Bihar in re-promulgating a number of ordinances without getting the approval of the legislature. The court held that petitioner as member of public has sufficient interest to maintain that petition. कौन सा केस था ये? It was DC Wadhav versus State of Bihar. B is the answer. Next is 49. Where legal wrong or legal injury is caused to a person or to a determinate class of person by reason of violation of any constitutional or legal right or any burden is imposed on contravention of any constitutional or legal provision. So and so, so and so, so and so. आप पढ़ सकते हैं इसको, पॉज करके वीडियो को देख लीजिए. किसने कहा था? जस्टिस भगवती इन द केस ऑफ PUCL या फिर अशोक कुमार पांडे या फिर SP Gupta versus Union of India. C is the answer. Next 50. The definition of money under GST law does not include letter of credit है. Yes. Currency held for numismatic value. No, ये नहीं है. Pay order travel check. Yes. B is the answer. Next is 51. Under Article 279A, GST Council is constituted by the President. C is the answer. Next 68. The Supreme Court has legalized living wills and passive and euthanasia subject to certain condition in the case of Aruna Ramchandra Shanbhog versus Union of India. A is the answer. Next 69. Article 310 of Constitution mentions about doctrine of immunities, legislative expectation, natural justice या फिर doctrine of pleasure with reference to civil servant. D is the answer. Is क्यों लिख दिया इधर ये? Next 70. Right to know the antecedents of the candidate in the election flow from 19(1)A. A is the answer. 71. In the preamble of the Indian Constitution, the word liberty is followed by the words thought, expression, belief, faith, worship. B is the answer. Next 87. A.K. Kripak versus Union of India relates to likelihood of bias. Bias पे था case A is the answer. Next 88. Judicial control of delegated legislation may be exercised on the ground of doctrine of ultra-virus, malafide, exclusion of judicial review. All of the above. D is the answer. Next 92. Mere illegality of the strike does not per se spell unjustifiability. जस्टिस कृष्णा अय्यर ने कहा था ये कौन से केस में? गुजरात स्टील ट्यूब्स वर्सेस गुजरात स्टील मजदूर सभा. सी इज द आंसर. Question number 1 is, how many kinds of presumptions are there as classified by the Supreme Court? Presumption of facts, permissive presumptions or presumption of facts, compelling presumptions or presumption of laws, rebuttable presumptions हैं ये सारी, and irrebuttable presumptions of law or conclusive presumptions. All of them. D is the answer. There are 3 types of presumptions. First is fact, law or mixed presumption. But in terms of rebuttable and irrebuttable presumption, there is further differentiation in that. So D is the answer. Next is 2. What is the leading question in the case of Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India? Right of hearing या फिर separation of power? Right of hearing. A is the answer. Next 14. Protection against arrest and detention in certain cases is mentioned in which of the following articles of Indian Constitution? Article 22. C is the answer. It is a fundamental right. Next 15. Article 300A of Indian Constitution, right to property, has been inserted in the Constitution by 44th Amendment Act. A is the answer. 19(1)(f) was deleted and inserted as 300A by this amendment. Next 27. Freedom of residence under Article 19 of Indian Constitution is available in which of the following clauses? It is in 19(1)(e). A is the answer. D is move freely throughout territory of India. B is assemble peaceably and without arms. And C is to form association or union. Next is 40. The test of reasonableness is not wholly test and its counters are fairly indicated by the Constitution. So dash test. Which test it is? It is subjective test. A is the answer. Next 41. The power to enact a law relating to the citizenship of India is left to the Parliament under the provision of Article 11 of the Indian Constitution. D is the answer. Next 52. Every person who is a member of a defense service or hold any civil post under Union holds office during the pleasure of President. B is the answer. Next 67. According to the provision of Article 315 of Indian Constitution, there shall be a public service commission for the Union and for each state. This is correct. The public service commission for the Union, if requested to do by the governor or state, may with the approval of the president agree to serve all or any of the needs of the state. This is also correct. So both are correct. C is the answer. 1 and 2. Article is mentioned here. Next 69. In which of the following case the Supreme Court first of all made an attempt to look into the question regarding the extension of the right to life to the right to health and other hygienic conditions? The Rural Litigation and Entitlement Kendra versus State of UP. A is the answer. Next 88. A discrimination against a man or woman only on the ground of dash would be violative of 15(1). All of them. So this was also deleted. Next 89. The objective resolution adopted by the Constituent Assembly on January 22, 1947 was drafted by Jawaharlal Nehru. A is the answer. Next 90. Right to the property was eliminated from the list of fundamental rights during the tenure of Morarji Desai B is the answer. It was eliminated by 44th Amendment from 1901F. It was deleted, but it was added as 300A as a constitutional right. Next, 99. The ground of error of law apparent on the face of record is connected with which of the writ? Certiorari. D is the answer. So let's move to the question number 1. The title of the Constitution of India is laid down in Article 393. D is the answer. Article 1 is name and territory of union. Article 5 is related to citizenship. And Article 390 has been deleted. Question number 2 is constitutional provision of fundamental rights are given under which part of the Constitution of India? That is in part 3. C is the answer. Part 1 is union and its territory. Part 2 is citizenship. Part 3 fundamental right. And part 4 is DPSP. C is the answer. Next is 3. By which of the following amendment of 1985 anti-defection law was added in the Constitution of India? So it was 52nd Constitutional Amendment. B is the answer. And 10th schedule was added in Constitution by this amendment. Next is 4. In which of the following cases the Supreme Court decided that a constitutional amendment is a law within the meaning of Article 13(2) and therefore it violates any of the fundamental right, it may be declared void. Which case was this? This was Golaknath versus State of Punjab. D is the answer. So D is the answer. Next is 5. Uniform Civil Code in India is a DPSP. It is provided under Article 44. B is the answer. Next is 6. As per Article 16, no student shall on the ground only of, देखिए ये है रीजन, रेस, कास्ट, सेक्स, डिसेंट, प्लेस ऑफ बर्थ, रेजिडेंस. इसका आप कैसे बना लीजिए RRC/SD/PR. तो ये आपको याद रहेगा RRC, ठीक है ना. लास्ट में R है तो R से स्टार्टिंग है और R पे ख़त्म है, तो इस तरीके से आप एक सीक्वेंस बना लेंगे. सो इट स्टार्ट्स विद R एंड ends with R. So you can make a sequence like this. So you can remember it in the exam paper so that you will not confuse between residence and age. So it is residence only. So A is the answer. Next is 7. The minimum number of judges who are to sit for the purpose of deciding any case involving substantial question of law as to the interpretation of the Constitution or for the purpose of hearing any reference under Article 143 shall be, this is 5. D is the answer. And where this is mentioned? This is mentioned in Article 145, Rules of Court, etc. Next is 8. According to the Article 300A of the Constitution of India, no dash shall be deprived of his property to save by authority of law. No person. A is the answer. Next is 9. Which of the following is not law according to Article 13 of Indian Constitution? So rules, bylaws, custom usage, none of these. So these all are laws. So D is the answer. And where it is mentioned? It is mentioned in Article 13(2), Clause A. Next is 10. Which of the following schedules deal with union list, state list and concurrent list in the Constitution of India? And so where the lists are mentioned, it is mentioned in Schedule 7. A is the answer. But in Schedule 10, defection laws. Okay. Schedule 11 is for Panchayat. Schedule 12 is for municipality. Next, 62. In Husnaira Khatun versus State of Bihar, right to speedy justice emerged as basic fundamental right. A is the answer. Next, 63. Which of the following writ can be issued against assumption of public office? Writ of quo warranto. What is your authority? C is the answer. अगर आपको इसमें कोई कमी लगी हो, कोई सजेशन हो, कोई एडवाइस हो, कोई कमेंट्स हो, तो आप जो है कमेंट सेक्शन में जाकर भी लिख सकते हैं. वी ऑलवेज अप्रिशिएट योर कमेंट्स. एंड अगर आपको ये वीडियो अच्छी लगी और एफर्ट्स हमारे अच्छे लगे हो तो उसको जरूर लाइक कीजिएगा, शेयर कीजिएगा अपने फ्रेंड्स के साथ, सो दैट दे कैन कम टू नो अबाउट आवर चैनल एंड वो भी बेनिफिट ले सकें। एंड अगर आपको हमारे एफर्ट्स अच्छे लगे हो तो इन एडिशन टू लाइक एंड सब्सक्राइब काइंडली गिव अस अ सुपर थैंक्स। सुपर थैंक्स इज अ वे टू अप्रिशिएट द कंटेंट क्रिएटर। आप जो भी कंटेंट बनाता है उसको अप्रिशिएट करने के लिए कोई भी अमाउंट जो है डोनेट कर सकते हैं। फ्रॉम मिनिमम स्टार्ट्स विद 40 रुपीज़ एंड काइंडली गिव अस अ सुपर थैंक्स। So friends, thanks very much for watching this video. Thank you.